Welcome to the Cattai School of Art. Double A, because that's my name. This course is called Maths in Minutes. It is available in a book called Maths and Memory Book 1 for the teacher or for the student. If you're interested in numeracy, literacy and foreign languages, visit my website, thebarkbequest.com. Small letters. I have here capitals because otherwise you can't see it. Cattai School of Art. This is the most creative course in the world. I can teach primary maths in 6 weeks. Schools can do it in 6 years. Because they teach maths for its own sake. There is nothing educational about it. Children switch off at the sight of numbers and the sound of teachers, the 3 S's, not the 3 R's, the 3 S's. Switch off at the sight of numbers and the sound of teachers. That is Pavlov's conditioned reflexes philosophy. The overall average mark for all years and for all levels is 45%. That is the result. That is the disastrous result. 1/3 goes to university and 2/3 perish by the wayside. I use maths as a medium to teach professional memory training techniques. That's why the results are better. We start at the very beginning, of course. You can't start at the end. Usually parents start to teach children and they have about 20 or 30, well in those days, 1-cent pieces. Now it could be 5-cent pieces. And they show the child one 5-cent piece and they say 1. And they show another piece because they have put 10 5-cent pieces in a row. Now that's very strange for a student because they're all the same pieces. And the first one is called 1 and the second one is called 2 and that's very confusing. 10 names for the same thing. 80 years ago there was a system. This is based on that system. It consisted of blocks of different length. This length was 1, this length was 2, this length was 3, 4, 5, 6. So this gives the idea that the numbers get bigger and bigger. So not showing 5-cent pieces because all the pieces are the same. I have here I said that in reading in minutes. Do not start writing before the age of 6 and 7. I went to primary school when I was 7, because the brain cells for that activity are then in place, not before. Children hold their pens and adults hold their pens as if it were a weapon. Started too early. That's the danger of this commercial idea of early learning. It's early demolishing. So if we learn, we don't write these numbers, we trace either with the thumb or a chopstick, or a blunt pencil, of course. This is for me a new system, and it is actually based on learning the letters. So this is actually learning numbers. Now, not the whole page, of course. In the YouTube notes, we will find 2 copies, A4 of course, and you cut out 1 copy. And you only do no more than 1 line. And you show the child the 5, and you say 5, and you say, can you put it on the other 5? This is 2. Can you put it in the 2? This is 7. The child has to repeat 7 and then puts it on this 7. Like in the letters and the words, the teacher says, step 2, she points, which one is this? 5. If the child doesn't say 5, you have to start this exercise all over again, and depending on the child, you do the first 2 or the first 3 or the first 4 or the first 5. In teaching words, that is called the word span. So I could actually now talk about the number span. So, depending on the child, you do the first 4, the first 5, but the exercise is the same. This is 4. Can you put your 4? This is 2. Say we do the first 4. Can you point to 2? You can also say, because if you put your single numbers on here, then you can you give me the 2? So either point to the 2, or can you give me the 2, because the 2 is sitting on here. Can you give me the 4? If that works, the third step is, which number is this? 1. Which number is this? 3. And that is the only example I'm going to do. It is explained in great detail. There's no point in spending 2 hours to do the same exercise. This is for homeschooling. This exercise belongs to that number page, And that's only done if you have the whole page, so that might take 2-3 weeks. The time is not important. The student is important. You stop when the student can't do any better. And so after a week or 2 weeks, the teacher says, point to 74, point to 15, point to 23. Point to the number before 99. Point to the number after 36. Odd numbers end in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It's very important to distinguish, because later on it is a great help if you can see the difference. Even numbers end in 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. Now the amazing thing is, of course, somebody has finished studies with PhD. They have never thought of the fact that, that's funny, odd has 3. That tells you that odd spells with double D, but that's odd. And even spelled with 4 letters. Nobody's ever seen it, because I did professional memory training. I see everything. Point and name to the odd number before and after 15. Point and name the even number before and after 74. Only and only when this exercise is done effortless, it can we proceed. I show you this is in smaller letters in your book. So I'm not, so this is the same exercise. When they discharge cargo from a ship, and I know that because I was 8 years in the Merchant Navy, there is a guy there in the hold, and he tallies. He makes sure that there is 1 bag or there is 2 bag. So 1 is the stroke, 2 is 2 stroke, 3 is 3 stroke, 4 is 4 stroke, 5 is 4 stroke with a cross. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. I don't know what 9 is, but anyway. So it's easy to see that, for instance, this is 5 and 5 is 10 and 5 is 15. Oh yeah. Then counting in 2s, that's quicker than counting in 1s. First the odd ones, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. Counting in evens, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. That's a good exercise. Do it many times, because the basic idea is that we get rid of this scarecrow business. Most people see numbers like scarecrows. Oh no, that's not. And that is how bad the schools are and still are. They haven't changed since the arrival of the first fleet, because they finished their studies. How can they invent something new? The writing. I have this 27,990. You know why? Because the 9 is a beautiful letter around and we all slide down. Not the idiotic stick you see in primary school. And of course most adults write the 9 like a stick. Why? So I use the same system in letters. I give you a recipe. And I say the recipe aloud, and as I say it, I do it. 1 stroke. 2, you start here, you don't start here. Around, down to the left, and the foot. This looks like a foot. 3, not start here, start here. Zig, zag, and around. Children love to use their voice. 4, slippery dip, right down. Slippery dip, right down. Children, most children I see now, modern children, they start here. Or they start here. Pom, pom, pom. So they're on the wrong side. If I want to write 56, the 6 is here, not here. Why do teachers, you know why? Because they say, oh, the child has a laptop anyway. He won't write and he won't. Big mistake, because I am teaching memory training techniques. If we depend on technology, we might as well not go to school because the computer does it all. But we are educating a child, not a laptop and not a calculator. I use maths as a medium because I know not everybody will use maths. So the 5 goes down, around, and the top. So I'm on the right side. Not ta ta ta. No, I don't want to be here. I want to, next number is here. Down, around, and ahead. 6, round and around. So we're only doing tracing. Right and curve down, not a straight line. No, nice. See, this should be an artistic exercise in Technicolor. Once there are 7. Such a page should be a picture. Not the rubbish that I see in homework sheets or the spelling words. 8. Now English people start a different way than Dutch people. So I have invented big egg, small egg. Anti-clockwise, big egg, small egg. 9. In the letters I've changed around and we fall down, because then becomes a Q, then it becomes that ridiculous stick. So I changed the fall into slide. Around and we slide down like a slippery dip. Or 10. A stroke and a jelly bean. Jelly bean, I mean. Anti-clockwise. See how nice this 9 is. This is our first lesson in maths. And why is this so good? because I use recipes. The same as you use a recipe to make a pancake. First the flour and then the egg, da. Not 63. We don't say plus and we don't say equals. In all of this, 63 and 1. 63 and 1. Not plus, explosion, equals. No. 6 and 3, 1, 64. Don't pronounce this. And just say 63 and 64. No, because that's what the school does. That's why it doesn't go. So I give you the recipe. If you add 1 to a number, you get the next number. That sounds extremely silly or common, but that's how my whole book works. That brings me to the following. You know why the school can't teach mathematics in primary school? Yeah, there is always a good student. Because the teaching is based on understanding. I've got big news for you. The brain of a child up to 10 or 11 is only 1/4 of an adult brain. So, can you see how stupid it is for the schools to rely on understanding? That skill isn't there. I teach you to see and to hear and to do. You don't have to be a mechanic to drive a car, and you don't have to be a mathematician to do maths. So the difference in school and me, the school explains. I read once, if you explain too much, you explain nothing. That's exactly what happens in schools. They explain too much. And once they have to do 50 exercises, because the publishers want to sell books, not to teach children. If you add 1 to a number, you get the next number. And so, because this is the discovery method, the student has to fill in. If you add 1 to a number and then it's still in the Z, you get the next number. And the answers are in the back of the book, of the student book. We have just learned the difference between odd, and that comes handy. So if you see the 2 and the 6, you straight away, those are even numbers, and there's 2 missing. 2, 4, 6, 8. And these are odd numbers, so the missing ones are 3 and 7. If you add 1 to a number, you get the next number. Then we do the next one. If you add 2 to an odd number, you get the next odd number. 1, 3, 5, 7. You know how easy it is? If you add 2 to a number, you get the next number, 19. Now, we have to look. 2 and 17 is, of course, the same as 17 and 2. So this is an eye movement. We don't have to write that separately. 2 and 5 is the same as 5 and 2. It's the same lesson. See, I give names to numbers. This is the most famous number of the 10. Well, 10 is actually not, it's only, so the 9 numbers, 9, this is an absolute beauty. So we have to practice this. 1 and 9, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 5 and 4. That's what the school does. No. We have to not learn this for tomorrow. Now, I have to tell you now how you can. You don't have to, but how you can remember. Now, this works well with 4-year-olds. The skinny one goes with the fat one. Kids love it. 1 and 8. 2 looks a bit like 7, except for the foot. There's no foot. 3 goes with its own double. And now we remember, memory has to do with rhyme and rhythm. So here is a vision. Skinny one, fat one. This you have to remember, but that is not too difficult because you're only missing ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 5 and 4, that's next door. So now the exercise, the teacher. Teacher says 1, student 8. Teacher says 8, student says 1. Now doing it quicker. 2, 7, 7, 2, 6, 3, 3, 6, 4, 5, 5, 4. So that's in order. Out of order. 2, 7, 5, 4, 3, 6, 8, 1. Do you honestly think that people have ever, that's why the 9 partners, these numbers make up 9, that's why they're partners. But if you look at numbers, and I see everything. I also saw that half 36, that comes later, is 18. So that is a later lesson. But I tell you, half 54 is 27. This is amazing. And I go a step further with multiplication. 3 6s are 18. Not a soul, not a student, not a PhD character has ever seen it because he doesn't look. He only teaches what he has learned. And he never learned this. 1 8 8 1 2 7 7 2 3 6 5 4. Don't go any further until this is. And then this is not 65 and 4 is no. Because we learned that 5 and 4 make 9, so straight away we see that it's 69. This is a brilliant system. Am I arrogant? No, but I am I am the best. Not 9 and 3 is 6 is 9. No! We've just learned that the 3 and the 6 are the 9 part. It's 99. 89. 79. You see it. You don't have to understand it. The first 9 recipe. My recipes are wonderful. Better than pancake recipes because they're shorter. So this is the example. And the student has to discover how I got this answer. And if he doesn't get the answer, he can look at the book and then he can these too. They all have the same recipe. So the student sees, hey, the 6 becomes a 5. That's 1 less. And the 9 becomes 10. Think 1 less and 10. You see and you say. You see 6 and you say 15. You see the 7 and you say 16. Not 4 and 9 equals some... nah. Think one less and teen. Well, we don't say 13, so we say 13, because that's easier in the mouth. Many have never seen this before. Now, because I call it the first 9 recipe, of course I have the second 9 recipe. This is the second 9, not 23 and 9 equals, nah. So you have to discover how I did it, and then you have to do these two. Well, you see that this number is 1 bigger than that, and that one is 1 less. So the recipe is think 1 more and 1 less. Oh, so think 1 more. The 9 is outside. Now the 9 is inside, so it's the same exercise. 1 more and 1 less. This is professional memory training. You see and you do. 1 more is 90, 1 less is 4, 94. The 9 is inside, so that's what you have to see. 9 outside, 9 inside. 36. This is unreal. The 10 partners. So we have... Okay, I'll stop here, because the 9 partners and now the 10 partners. So that's a different subject. I'll see you tomorrow.